1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia. AB skinheads with big giant swastikas. Pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in a Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters don't move.
So Blueface is just like hot right now. Like anything.
But do you think he's a good looking dude? A black dude? African American? Booty scratcher?
Hey, real tone, it's some real money in the room. A Mexican podcaster.
Oh,
I'm gonna call him Hispanic because I don't know his origin.
Mexican. Everybody in LA, they Mexicans. Mexicans, not Mexicans. Mexicans.
And let me say something right now, right? Honestly, man, a month or two ago, I was going to address this issue right here, right? Because I've seen Dub say that he feels that black people say Mexicans intentionally to be insulting and be disrespecting, and that's far from the truth. Let's keep in mind that at one point in time, English was a second language to Africans, African Americans, or however you want to categorize black people, right? So in learning a second language, sometimes you don't say words correctly, you mispronounce certain things, so on and so forth. Let's keep in mind that you have a lot of black people in California whose families initially migrated from down south, the southern states, whether it's Texas, Louisiana, Florida, what have you, right? And so sometimes in hearing people in your family mispronounce words, you take on the habit of mispronouncing words. It's not to be insulting, it's not intentional, it's just a learned behavior, right? The same way you may hear some black people say, instead of fixing to, I'm finsta to go over here and holler at the homie, so on and so forth. The same way you have other cultures and other races mispronounce certain words. The same way that at the start of some of Dub's earlier videos, you would hear Dub saying new video. Now he is mindful and concentrates on saying new video. So it's nothing more than that. It's nothing more than just being from a certain culture and pronouncing certain things a certain way. Sometimes you have individuals who want to make things to be bigger than they actually are, or who want to let their hatred influence their opinions and the way they perceive things. Man, that's just keeping it 100.
Mexicans. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Why you say not Mexicans?
Because you have to understand that Mexicans come from Mexico. Half the Mexicans in LA don't even speak Spanish.
Yeah.
They didn't adapt it to our culture so much, they're trying to overtake it. They hate us so much, but they want to be like us so much. And it's not a bad thing. We kind of cute. It's fun, over though.
Well, that's exactly what this Mexican podcaster said on
Woodstock or some shit like that. Hoodstock or some shit like that.
Something like that. But he goes to he brings up Blueface and asks this other Mexican woman, would she, let him smash? And
but you have to
then the response was black man, African booty scratcher. And her response was no, against the Threat Penal Code.
Yeah, I understand completely. That podcast is a Serrano podcast. So they spitting Serrano views. The nigga said African booty scratcher, right? The beanie nigga said that.
Now he just said, this dude said African booty scratcher. The bean eating nigga said that. Now he's referring to, of course, Lucky. Now I have to just remind all the Mexican people out there to keep in mind that these are the opinions and views of Gumby, one person, right? Gumby is no more a representative for black people than Lucky is a representative for the Mexican people, right? So people have to understand and know that, you know, this dude is speaking for himself. You know, do I agree or condone with what this dude is saying? No, not at all, right? But I honestly believe that when you hear your race being respected, for those who have racial pride, right? And then keep in mind, Gumby has been to prison. So he has been on the level 4s. He's done about 18 years or whatever. He knows very well the makeup of the racial hatred sometimes that goes on in prison. So sometimes people bring that type of ideology home with them, right? And so when you hear one person disrespecting your race, some people will adopt the tit for tat mentality, and they will go and try to one up this person or match this person's racial energy. And that's the situation that you have right here. Let's keep it 100, man. It is what it is. You know, one person disrespected somebody heard it, and he felt the need to disrespect that person back.
Right. He has to have Sereno influence, period. But you have to understand, I was trying to show you the distinction between a Mexican and a Mexican, right? Those right there are Mexicans. You see her? You see her movements? You see how she acts? See how she talks? Chalalet. See how she talk? That probably was a drug mule back in the day.
What's that, a drug?
You're bringing dope to the pin. Square.
Yeah, I'm square.
It's a
Now that's funny, right? Hey, so this dude, you know, Gumby says, man, she probably was a drug mule. And the dude that's interviewing him says, what's a drug mule? And he says, bringing dope to the pen, you square ass nigga. Then you hear the interview saying, the interviewer saying, oh yeah, I am square. And so, yeah, man, this dude he obviously is talking to is not from California, right? And in my opinion, that's the thing that we have to be mindful of and stop doing at times, is letting these dudes who are from out of state chasing the California content create a potentially negative situation and negative environment for those people who have to live in California, and for those people who possibly adapt a certain ideology to where they will let this type of rhetoric, this type of talk, get them to react in violent ways toward other races, other groups, so on and so forth, man. These dudes who are not from California are intrigued with the California content, and they ask these goofy ass questions sometimes, not necessarily caring about the potential harm it may cause.
I just think that the situation in LA is a racial place. It's a very racial place. And Mexicans are some of the biggest races that they are. I can only speak about LA Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? We all got, you know what I'm saying, the neighbors and Hector and them. Hector, I ain't mean no shit, man. I'm still coming to get my tamales next door. Stop playing, man. But me and him talked about it. It's a older Mexican gentleman that live next door, right? And you know what I'm saying? Even we kind of cool with each other. You know what I'm saying? He been to the pen and shit, you know what I'm saying? But he understands the differences. See, he's not, I won't say he's a racist. I'll say he's a separatist. He's not gonna be disrespectful at all, you know? But he don't want blacks mixing with his race. And that's not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing, and it turns racial when you're downing somebody else. When you're saying, oh, African booty scratcher, and you're saying anything bean eating wetback. You're saying any of that shit. That's being disrespectful.
Now, I seen a person earlier in my comments. He was talking about this video. He said, man, you got the dude on there calling us beaners, calling us wetbacks. Let's be clear about what he said. He didn't call anybody a wetback. What he did say, he did call the dude a bean eating motherfucker or whatever he said, right? But what he said is, it only becomes disrespectful when you have people saying things like African booty scratcher or wetback. So he's using these well-known racial derogatory remarks to illustrate his point, right? So let's keep it clear. But to be honest, we have seen Gumby do many videos, and I don't know if I mentioned this or not. I keep getting interrupted by my grandson, but we have seen Gumby do many videos, right? And Gumby has never had anything negative or insensitive to say about Mexicans up until the point that Lucky made that disrespectful, derogatory remark. And then Lucky he was, for whatever reason, unwilling to come back the next day and say, hey, man, you know, my bad. That was a bad attempt of a joke that went bad, or that was this, or that was that. I haven't seen any video of him trying to clarify it. I've seen a couple videos to me where it feels like he's doubling down on what he said. And so when you have things like that occur, individuals who have been to the prison, because Gumby done about 18 years in prison, I believe. When you have people who have been to prison and they see the political makeup of prison between Southerners and blacks, you will have some people who will bring that ideology home with them. And when they hear their race disrespected, individuals who have a great racial pride in their race, then they do this. They feel the need to lash back out and say, hey, man, if you're going to disrespect me, I'm going to disrespect you. And that's just keep it 100. And that's what it leads to at times with some individuals.
We have our differences and still be respectful. But what they chose to do was they chose to clown us on the platform. It was saying our all Hispanic platform. They wasn't talking to us. That was like a private conversation. They were saying that they aired.
Well, why, in your case, stoop back down to their level? Because you did say beaming at the beginning of the conversation, even though, you know what I'm saying?
Because it's tit for tat. Tit for tat don't make it right, but it damn sure make us even.
I can respect it. I can respect it. You know, out here in Texas, we actually mess with the Mexicans.
We do too. We do. We buy tamales from them. We buy drugs from them. You know, say that type of shit. We fuck with them. See, in LA, everything is political. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, you got Mexicans that's cool with you. You know what I'm saying? And then you got other ones that are not, that are straight. Look at this shit that's going on with the Longos. Look at this shit going on with in Compton with the Mexicans.
What's going on?
It's a war. That's what I said. They're going to see you and whoop your ass.
Just because I'm black?
Yes.
No.
Yes. And
now that's crazy right there. Once again, and that just goes to further my point. Gumby says, hey, man, look what's going on in Compton and Long Beach. The Square interviewer from Texas says, what's going on? And Gumby tells him it's a racial war, and they will see you and whoop your ass. And the interviewer says, just because I'm black? And Gumby says yes, and the interviewer says no. It's incredulous to him. He just cannot believe the attitude out here in some of these cities, right? And so that's the thing. Once again, we have to stop letting these out-of-state content creators come to California or interview California dudes, man, and create a potentially dangerous environment for those who live in California. Once again, man, this Texas dude, he's chasing content. He may or he may not care or be aware of the potential dangerous environment he is formulating with his line of questioning and things of that nature.
The craziest thing about it is that, see, black people are so forgiving and loving. I hate you. Like this Mexican just spit in our face. I ain't seen. I take that back. He spit in our face. But I was gonna say I ain't seen. I did last night when I was chilling last night, scrolling on my phone, and I seen the boy Munchie Biggie on Hoover. He got on there. He like, even though we got our differences, little bro be spitting some gang. He know what he talking about on Hoover. He do half the time anyway, but you know he do. But yeah, what he said was very important. Y'all should go back and watch that because he's giving you our perspective as a gang member dealing with these dudes.
What is your perspective as a gang member?
Now, let me say this right now, right? In my comments, I've seen a lot of Mexican dudes saying, hey, man, well, what about the disrespect by Whack 100? What about the disrespect from Charleston White or Hellcat on No Jumper? And I totally agree, right? I don't believe in unnecessarily disrespecting anybody, especially along racial lines. I think one thing that a lot of people fail to realize is us content creators, we cannot see everything. First and foremost, me myself, man, I don't watch No Jumper, so I don't see nothing that goes on No Jumper unless somebody makes a comment about something and I have to go and I look for it intentionally, right? I don't agree with a whole lot of the things Charleston White says, so I don't watch Charleston White. I don't agree with a whole lot of the things that Whack 100 says, right? I don't necessarily feel that just because those are black individuals, right, when they do say something stupid or something racial, that I have to come and defend those individuals, right? The same way that you have a lot of Mexicans feeling like, hey, man, we don't have to come and defend Lucky. I've seen Mexican YouTubers said, hey, man, Lucky speaks for himself. He said what he said. You know, they'll go as far as to say that they don't condone it. But I even seen one Mexican YouTuber says, hey, man, I don't condone what Lucky said. But if anybody tries to mess with Lucky, we're going to support him. And basically, we're going to have his back. Now, we can look at that one or two ways, right? We can look at that as the Mexicans standing up and defending their people, or we can look at it like also black people need to stand up and defend their people regardless of what's going on, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think a lot of people want to bring home a prison type of ideology and want to try to apply it here on YouTube, man, which is, you know, to me, which is crazy to do in the free world, right? But like I said, once again, man, when you have people disrespect other people along the lines of race, you are going to have some individuals who feel disrespected and they're going to try to match or one up that energy.
They the enemy. They the enemy.
So you beefing with most black gangs and the Mexicans as a Hoover?
The police, baby mamas, all that shit.
Why do the blacks and the Mexicans beef out there in LA?
Different reasons, different hood politics like that. You know, sometimes majority of it has to do with drugs, the drug trade. I know they dress and act like blacks, like from everything, and all that. You know what I mean? A prostitute's best friend is a Mexican. Real life, get it? Like, their culture is so intertwined with ours to where it's indistinct. You can't even distinguish between the two, right? But the problem comes in where the racism and all the bullshit come in with the gangs and the way they were raised. They were raised, all blacks know this. Mexicans was raised not to f with y'all. They think y'all dirty, y'all don't take baths, all that type of shit. I had a few Mexicans, and this is what they tell you. They tell me. It's racist. They racist. They really are. This is how they were raised coming out the womb. And I don't fault them for that. It is what it is, but just let me know you're racist. You know what I mean? When I was in the pen, some of my best partners were skinheads, Nazi lowriders. What's up, Axel? Shout out to my Axel on Death Row, Hoover though. And that's kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah. What, like, how did y'all make a relationship? You and a skinhead?
Mutual respect. Mutual respect. You get it? But him understanding he ain't no bigger than me and I ain't no bigger than him. I understand him. He don't want me on the white bitch. And I damn sure don't want him. Well, I'll take that back. He can let me stop. Let me stop. I'm kind of like on some whole other shit with them right now.
Anyway, I think I'm going to stop the video right there, right? But I think it's something very important that he said when he asked him, how do you have a relationship with a skinhead or a Nazi lowrider? And he said, mutual respect. You know, very important. When an individual tends to lose sight of mutual respect and he allows himself to say anything, especially a person who has been to prison in California and who functioned as either a Southsider or a black, and you know the potential backlash from what you said due to certain individuals watching your page or watching your statement and people who support the other side of what you used to support, then we have to be aware, man, of what we said, right? I intentionally showed you guys the video of Do Rock Creep before I did the reaction to this video right here. For those who are not aware, Gumby went to prison around the age of 18 and was sentenced to life without parole for a murder he actually did not commit. While incarcerated, he stabbed and killed one of his homies. He ended up going to the hole for that, and in trying to give him the death penalty for that, they looked into his original case and come to find out he was actually innocent. So in essence, the murder that he committed while he was in prison got him eventually freed from the charges that he was not guilty of, right? And so I say that all to say he has been to prison and he knows the inner workings of the political BS that goes on in prison as well. You know, I showed you guys Creep's video. I showed you guys Gumby's video. Both two individuals who have been in prison and who know the racial structure and makeup of prison, but they chose to go two different routes, right? If I'm not mistaken, Gumby and Creep were in the same prison, right? And I do believe they know of each other, and I'm probably willing to bet they even know each other. If my memory serves me correct, they was in the hole at the same time, because I happen to be writing the individual who was in the hole, a good friend of mine, Dan Tanner, and he was talking about trying to start a record company with Gumby. At the same time, I done time with Creep and Salinas, and I was telling him to tell Creep, I said, what's up? So if my memory serves me correct, they were all in the hole at the same time, right? But at the end of the day, man, when we lose sight of mutual respect, then, you know, that's going to be the outcome at times, a negative situation, right? At the end of the day, you have individuals who are not necessarily willing on either side to make individuals be accountable for their statements. I'm not talking about a DP and none of that old type of stuff. I'm talking about just being a man, talking to an individual and saying, hey man, what you are doing is creating a potential situation where you may have many people getting harmed, right? Because most of the times, you know, you're not going to see individuals, you're not going to see dudes on YouTube out there in the streets, out there in the field. It's going to be the more young, immature individuals, right, who are just getting a small taste of this ideology, right, who are still confused, trying to impress people, get caught up in the madness, man. So anyway, there it is. There, you know, that's my reaction, man. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.